Hello, and a big welcome to everyone tuning in. We're so excited to have you here with us tonight on Nest Builders. My name is Haley Narciso, and I get the incredible pleasure to be your host for tonight. A special welcome to all of our families tuning in from around the country who attend one of our Nest schools. Thank you for being a part of our Nest family. Tonight, we are thrilled to host our second Director Roundtable, one of my favorite Nest Builder discussions to be a part of. We have with us 4 directors from Nest schools across the country, and tonight they are going to be sharing their expertise on preparing our young children for preschool and kindergarten, something that they do every day. So first, let's take a few moments just to introduce each one of our guests and let them tell all of you a little bit about themselves and the Nest school that they represent. So Carolyn, why don't you go ahead and get us started?
Hello, guys. My name is Carolyn. I am the director of the Nest School in Centennial, Colorado. Beautiful state. I have been in the field for over 20-something years, and before I was in the field of early childhood, I worked in law for a little bit. I have 5 beautiful grown children and 3 grandchildren, so this is near and dear to my heart. And that's me in Centennial.
Go ahead, Kendra.
Hi, I'm Kendra Aiden. I am the director at the Nest School at Thomas Crossroads in Noonan, Georgia. I've been in childcare and early education for about 34 years. Pretty much have held every role within childcare and early education. I have 2 adult daughters, one who actually works with children as well. So something that's just kind of part of our family. There's lots of people in childcare who work in my family and in early education, and it's just truly a passion.
Go ahead, Sam.
Hi, my name is Samantha. I am the director at the Nest School in Loganville, Georgia. I have been in the childcare industry a little over 2.5 years now. I actually have 4 kids of my own, ranging from 1.5 to 7. So the whole interim preschool, interim pre-K thing is near and dear to me. But before I did this, I did external management for almost 9.5 years. But I definitely feel that where I am now is a better fit for me.
My name is Sydney Crow, and I am the director of the Lakeland School in Florida. I've been teaching and a director for about 17 years now. I started in the infant classroom and worked my way up, and this is my career. This is my passion, especially working with kids and social emotional. That's my background.
I love it. Thank you all so much. It really is so great to have you all here and to be a part of this conversation on exploring this important topic on helping our families get their children ready for preschool. Whether your children will be joining one of our Nest schools in the fall, or in some cases, leaving our schools and heading off into kindergarten. This is a topic that is near and dear to, I am sure, all of our hearts as early childhood educators, but also to parents and families out there as well. It certainly is one that is to bring some great conversation tonight. So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. So we're going to start our time together tonight on those preschool years and how to not only get your child ready for this change, but also how you as a parent can also get ready for this change as well. So Kendra, I want to start off with you. Can you tell us what makes a child ready for preschool?
It really varies by the individual child, but there are certain fundamental things that are super important. A big part of what makes a child ready for preschool is that their parents are ready for them to go to preschool. So having those parents who encourage them, make it fun, make it exciting, let them know that they're going to make friends and they're going to learn so much and that it's going to be a good experience for them is a huge part of getting kids ready to start preschool. The academic things are all going to come. They're going to get all that throughout their time in preschool. But having a good foundation and having those parents who are encouraging them and supporting them through it is fundamentally the best part to get them started and get them ready.
Absolutely. I love that. Sydney, let's talk a little bit about as a parent is getting their child ready to enter preschool, whether it is coming into preschool for the first time, their first exposure, or even just moving up from some of those younger classrooms up to a preschool classroom. What are some tips or tricks or advice that we can give to our parents to really combat some of those first day jitters of their preschool?
Kids that transition up sometimes can be really hard because they're leaving teachers that, especially if they've been in childcare before, moving up, they get really attached with them. And so taking that moment to, have them spend time a little bit each week, like we do in Florida with our transitions, is the kids spend a little bit of time with the teachers, getting to know them. The teachers that they're currently with pass along some information and stuff with them, so that way they can get a feel for them, because each child's different, each teacher's different. And so the way they mesh just kind of varies. It takes a little bit of time. I always like to tell the parents that it's okay. It's something new. They're strangers, and us as adults meeting somebody new, it takes us a little bit too. We always get a little bit of nervousness. We don't know quite what to say or what to do yet, and after a little bit, we always get in that a little bit of a routine of what to do, and finally open up at the end. Especially with parents that are just starting in preschool that have never been in childcare before, stay positive. The children really do feed off of what you project when you drop off. Come up with a good routine for your kids, and making sure to stick with that routine. And being positive, especially when dropping off, is a big portion of it. Because you want them to feel confident when you're bringing them in, that it's okay. Like, I know I'm sad, but you're going to have a great day. You're going to do so well. You're going to have lots of fun with all of your new friends. And so it's really important with it.
I agree with her, and I think it's also wonderful too when you're having those parents that are coming into the schools, that are checking out the schools, have them to bring the kids in so they can get a feel what the environment is like. I always have my parents here at Centennial, when we have new families come in, we definitely love using our discovery days. Kids get to come in, they get to see what the environment's like. They get to see the different sounds, the smells, what to expect. And this is a great opportunity for the parents to leave the children, leave their little one there for a couple of hours and kind of back off a little bit and let them experience it for a little bit and get in there and make some friends, before that first day that they start. So this is a good way to get the kids in there to see what's going on and know what to be expecting.
Yeah, I always encourage the parents to bring the children in with them when they come to do the tour. Bring them more than once. If they've already set a start date, and so they know they're starting on this Monday, bring them a couple of days before, just so that the first day that they're coming to join their class is not the first day they've ever seen their class. That would be very intimidating and nerve-wracking even for an adult to go somewhere new, and it's the first time you've ever laid eyes and you're going to be spending your whole day there. So I always encourage the parents to bring those children along on the tours, let them explore the room while they're talking to the teachers, and let them start getting comfortable so that their first day of school is not their first day seeing their school.
I definitely think that's huge as well with the parents with the first day jitters, because your children they feed off of your energy. So if you're nervous, you're upset, or whatever the situation is going into that, your children are definitely going to feed off of that. So having the parents come in and spend time in the class as well with the kids, I definitely think helps them get more comfortable in the environment, as well as the children and the parents together.
Absolutely. So I love hearing all of that from all of you. Really having that advice, that perception, right, from you all as directors, and really being able to welcome in and help calm some of those first day preschool jitters for not only the children, but also the parents as well. So Samantha, I have another question for you. What are some of the ways that we can prepare our young children that as they are getting ready to enter into those preschool years? So what are some of those activities or different types of learning experiences that we might do with some of our younger ages to really prep and prepare them for those preschool years?
So I definitely on parent side and, coming into school, establish a routine with the child. Establish routine, keep it consistent with them so that they know what they're going into every day and it's not something completely new to them and they do get lost in the mix. Um, Also, making sure that we stay consistent with what we do with them, stay positive, just reinforce them on, what they're doing. Talk to them about where they're going, what their day's going to consist of. Because a lot of the children that do come into preschool have never been in school before, have never been in childcare, so they don't know what to expect. So as parents and, as teachers and things in those roles, we definitely have to explain to them what they're walking into, what they're getting ready to experience. I know I can speak for myself with my children. One of the biggest things for us is we read to them. We read to them books that encourage what they're doing. So there is a series called The Night Before. So there is one that's called The Night Before Preschool. And there's one that breaks down for all holidays and everything, occasions, different grades and everything. We've done it with my older two. We're getting ready to go through it with my 4-year-old as well. But I think that's huge for them because they sit down to read it every night and they're like, am I going to do this when I go to school? Is this what I'm going to walk into? I already know how to do that. Another big thing, getting the parents involved, visiting the school, spending time in the school, getting to meet the teachers, getting to meet the staff, the admin team in the buildings of where your children will be is definitely a comfort thing for the parents as well as the children. And then a huge thing is just establish a goodbye routine. When you leave your child, that's very difficult in the morning for the first couple of weeks when they've never been exposed to that. So definitely establish that goodbye routine. Let them know what that's going to look like. Let them know that you will be back. So they can see that and they can live that life and know that at the end of the day, mommy and daddy are coming back for me. I'm not going to stay here forever. Because I think that's huge in drop-off moments where I know as admin, we struggle with a lot of that coming from that aspect because, we're trying to coach the parents out and the children in. So it's a lot sometimes. But I definitely think having that goodbye routine and establishing that with your children is great.
I agree with her because I like how she said, talking to those parents and the parents reminding them that they will be returning, because that's something we do with our teachers here. Even though the parents are doing that, we want to make sure the teachers are also telling the child, mommy and daddy will return to you, so, just reiterate that to the kids so they do feel comfortable. So the same thing mom and dad are doing, we want to make sure we're on that same page and we're doing the exact same thing. It makes an easy transition into the school.
Yeah, I always tell the parents, make sure you say goodbye, make sure you give hugs and kisses, never sneak out. I know some parents think, oh, they're distracted, they're playing, so, I'm just going to sneak out while they're not looking. And, I always tell them, that's scary for them. You're there and they turn around and you're gone. And we spend the whole first half of their life telling them, don't talk to strangers. And then we take them to a brand new place and we drop them off with strangers. Mm-hmm. So we've got to make sure that they realize that we are trusted adults, that their parents are not leaving them with somebody that is a stranger that they don't trust, so they can develop those relationships. Do those goodbye routines, make sure that they know you're leaving and that you're coming back. And I always tell the kids, when they're crying, especially after they've been there a couple of days and they're starting to know who I am. And when they're crying and saying, I want mommy, and I'll say, I know you do, but guess what? Nobody sleeps at school overnight. We all go home at the end of the day. Nobody spends the night at school. And then sometimes I'll get, not even you? I know it feels like sometimes I sleep here, but I really don't.
That's my favorite.
One of the best ways that I help transition the kids into the classroom is by, getting down and agreeing with them, it's okay, mommy and daddy is coming back. It's totally fine. And so I always used to ask them, well, what do you want to do while you wait? Mm-hmm. While we wait for mommy and daddy to come back, let's pick a toy, let's pick a book or a song or something that helps kind of alleviate some of that stress of, oh, I'm just waiting. Yes. It takes that little bit of a, hey, we're not at school. We're not here to do all the activities and stuff. We're just simply finding something to do while we wait for them to come back as they go to work and different items. I've even had parents make part of their drop off routine about getting some blocks or something out to help start building a castle or something for them to do, to just go ahead to start with that routine of it. I've also had parents start a little drawing and stuff and letting the kids complete it and stuff, so that way they can see it when they come to pick them up and give them that little bit of something to look forward to when they get back.
This is also special.
Another thing that we also do here is anytime like that, we ask for a family picture. That
Mhm.
photo is very important for them to have that so that when they are feeling a little nervous or a little down, they can go and pull that picture out and we can talk to them about, yeah, who is this? Tell me who this is in the picture and what's going on. So it's just remind them and let them know, we understand what you're going through. Yes, this is mommy and daddy. They will be coming back. We understand, so it's nice having that family picture there. So when they're feeling down, they can go take a look at it and say, oh yeah, mom and dad will return. Yes.
Thank you. I love that. I think really the big message here is building that relationship with those trusted caregivers, our trusted caregivers being our early childhood educators inside the classroom. So we're going to go ahead and really open it up and hear from our audience as well. So we want to hear from you. So go ahead and type in your comments below on Facebook or YouTube. What do you look for in a preschool program when choosing a school for your child? So while the audience goes ahead and types in their answers about what they look for in a school, let's talk about what the Nest offers for our preschoolers and how that aligns with what children need and what their parents want for their children. So let's start with you, Sydney.
I really like the art of living that we offer here at the Nest because the best thing for the kids, especially at preschool and PPK age, as they're moving up into kindergarten, are those basic life skills. As we've talked about with like school age kids and stuff, they kind of like start to miss out on it, and especially as they get older. But the fact that we envelop that in our curriculum where they practice on, just simple hand washing, how to clean up messes, how to sweep, folding clothes, and even just helping dress baby dolls and stuff. Just the everyday things that we tend to not really think about until it's like, oh gosh, maybe I should have taught that or we should have focused on that before, they get too big and you're like, oh, where did I miss out? But it's things that envelop everyday life, and just whether even with like our food program, we have family style dining where we all sit down and the kids practice serving themselves and helping each other and by pouring milk and stuff. And sometimes it spills and eventually they'll get, into a routine of it and they start mastering it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really enjoy that art to live in also. It also teaches kids a little bit of independence. These are things that they're going to have to learn, going into kindergarten and stuff, how to tie your shoes, zipping up and down, cleaning up after yourself. So I really enjoy the arts and living. Here we use it a lot, and the kids really enjoy, going in there, taking care of their classroom, cleaning up after themselves. And these are things that they're going to be doing at home. And these are some of the skills that the parents can be working with their little one as they're getting ready to enter, whether it be a preschool program or kindergarten. This is something I really enjoy that the Nest does. So yeah, I love the arts of living.
Samantha, what are some of your favorite materials that you see set out inside your classroom for your preschoolers to engage with?
I think some of my favorite materials for them is definitely going to have to be the art center. Just being that it gives each child their own expression and they can express who they are, what they're about in their own way. And it's so cool to watch what some of them do and how they use some of the stuff in the centers that, as adults, some of us would have never thought to incorporate some of that. Or when they make something and they tell you what it is and you're in your head, you're thinking, how do you see that? Like, show me how you're seeing this. And it's just amazing to me to see how their imaginations work and how unique each child is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So some of our viewers have gone ahead and commented in that they look for a school that is confident that they are safe, that they have same values that the family has, that they receive that well-rounded education, and that our teachers share what kids are learning so that they can continue the learning at home. Feeling of a second family, safety, potty training, and really having that fun and loving environment that I truly believe that we embody at the Nest and in all of our schools and all of our environments. This has been an incredible conversation so far with all of you, and I have loved hearing your takes and perspectives on ensuring that our little ones are ready for preschool. So now we're going to shift gears just a bit and we are going to move into kindergarten. So unfortunately, there always comes a time when our preschoolers have to leave us at the nest and we have to say goodbye as they begin to embark on their next academic journey, which is kindergarten. But how do we know if your child is ready? So what do we need to do to help them succeed? So we're going to start off with a simple question, or at least one that sounds simple to me. What does kindergarten readiness mean? So Carolyn, let's go ahead and start with you.
I feel like kindergarten readiness, it can be different for every child and, every school environment. The first thing I think parents need to do is to kind of look into the school that your child will be going into and find out what the expectations are. This kind of gets them ready. This is where you find out children can do what is expected of them, being able to follow simple directions, being able to line up, or a little bit of social and emotional skills. So kindergarten readiness, it's really hard to say, narrow it down to one thing, because every school district could be looking for something a little different. So for us, the best thing that we do here is we stay in contact with our local schools that we know our children are going to be transitioning to, and communicate this with the parents to find out exactly what they need. That top thing is that social emotional skills, being able to interact with other kids, being able to be left, in school for a certain amount of time without mom and dad coming in, whereas here in early childhood, they can come in throughout the day. Being able to communicate they need this, and, being able to respond to directions that are given to them. So, in my eyes, kindergarten readiness can be so many different things, from one school to the next. So it's really important to stay in touch with your local schools and communicating with your parents.
I agree with all of that. And something I always think about with kids getting ready to go into kindergarten is starting to understand how to be part of a classroom community. They need to start building those skills for being able to share. I usually say take turns, because I don't know why share is a bad word for small children. They feel like that means they're never getting it back. So learning to take turns, learning to sit and listen, learning to line up and just be part of that community, understanding that we all take care of each other, we all care about each other, and it is a classroom community. And that's children who are in pre-K or preschool before they go to kindergarten have already started to get a good sense of that. That's why, to me, preschool is so important. So when they go to kindergarten, the teacher doesn't have to spend the first half of the year teaching them the business of being in school and teaching them that how to be a part of a classroom community. They already have that foundation. They already know those fundamentals. So they're ready to start learning from day one.
I love that. Thank you. Samantha, how can our parents help their children develop some of those academic skills, such as letter or number recognition at home? So what sort of games or activities or experiences that are really fun and engaging for those children can we encourage parents at home to set out and play with their children?
Yeah, so like with my children, we do a lot of these activities here with them. We do number hunt and we do letter hunt. So I take the letter ABCs, we do lowercase and uppercase. So we put the uppercase like throughout the house, and then the children have the lowercase, and they have to go find the matching uppercase. And we do the same with numbers as well. So we'll do like index cards, and we'll put like dots on them, like 2 or 3 dots for the number. And then the kids have the number, and they have to go match them with the dots throughout the house. We also do matching with Uno cards. So they have to match not only the colors, but the numbers with them as well. And then we do dice roll. So we have dice where we've got the number written on it, and then it's got the dots on it. So they have to roll them and match them together. The kids love it. It gets them involved. It gets them driven. And then we do letter writing books occasionally if they ask. But it's so funny coming home. The kids are like, can we match the letters? Can we match the letters? So I think definitely integrating in the games and the involvement in the parents being present and involved with the children when they do this is huge for the children. They see the parents are there for them for the support. They're going to continue to keep trying to grow. They're going to want to learn. And I think that's a huge thing, is showing the children that learning can be fun, teaching them to love to learn in a fun environment, and being able to have those different games and stuff to engage in that with them, versus just, here, sit down, let's write this out. That can be boring to a child, but having them involved in games and activities is definitely going to keep their interest, and they're going to learn better that way.
And I agree with her 100%. Because with my granddaughters, I do believe that learning does not always have to be in the classroom. And that's one thing I really love about the Nest. It doesn't always have activities and things, does not always have to be in the classroom. It can be done outside. We love on the weekends being outside, just listening to different sounds and looking for those colors. And, so I love going on, we call them our small, going for an adventure, going on an adventure, walk through the neighborhood and looking at the different colors and finding out what, she sees. I might see, a green tree. She might see a spaceship or something, and I want her to elaborate on it more. But the fact that we're out there looking at all these different colors and sounds and, and picking up sticks and making different art projects, it's just really fun to know that you can still learn. You don't have to always be in the classroom sitting. You can learn outside too, and getting that fresh air. And lately she's been really fascinated with, we have a lot of cottonwood trees around, and what's the white stuff floating in the air? Could it be snowflakes in the summertime? So it's just really fun knowing that you can switch it up and learn inside, yet you can also learn outside too.
Yeah, my kids are older, so my children are 27 and 30. So we had a little bit different experience with things that we did, but I used so much opportunity of them in the car, because we had a captive audience in the car. And so we didn't have the option of having a phone or a tablet or whatever. So they learned a lot of their letters and things like that through environmental print. So they would drive down the road and they would see the Pizza Hut sign or the Publix sign or the Walmart sign. And so they say, oh, that's Walmart. So, oh yeah, what letters are in the word Walmart? So they could learn that. And then it's like, oh, that's P for Publix. Oh, P is in pizza too. And so we just use the opportunity to, as we're driving down the road, what else they have to do. So they learned a lot of things, and it kept that communication open as well. So we're talking, we're not just sitting in the car, listening to the radio or playing on a device or whatever. We're actually having conversations about the things that we're seeing around us. And my children learned so much in the car. So I feel like parents who give their kids a tablet or some other device, they're missing out on a lot of memory making with their kids, but they're also missing out on a lot of opportunities to teach.
I love that, Kendra. So much of our long car rides that we have in our own family on some of those long hockey trips, from the time that even our young one at home was first learning counting or number recognition. We used to play a game that we always called the American flag game. So driving down the neighborhoods or driving down the different streets, every time we saw an American flag out, we would count. And that was a really great way for our little one at home to be able to practice his counting, and for us as the parents to be able to encourage that counting at home. Same with the alphabet game. So every time you see a letter on a sign or on the side of a truck or on a car, really being able to recognizing it. And, as Aiden was young, starting off with just having him yell out those letters. So the letter A, now I found the letter B and the letter C. And then getting older and really getting some more of that language and letter recognition, starting to put some of those letter sounds together to make words and helping him sound them out. And now at 13, he is pretty close to almost winning the alphabet game every single road trip. So I hear you on that one. Those spending time in the car and really doing it as a family engagement as well. It is a lot of fun to know that we all are learning and playing at the same time. I love that. So thank you. Thank you for sharing. One big question that I have, I know it's one that I hear a lot, and I'm sure that other parents and families might hear or feel this a lot at home as well, is that kindergarten is the new first grade as far as academics. So, Sydney, let's start with you. what do you feel they should know before going into first grade? So what resources are there to help them to learn some of these at home as well?
There's actually quite a few resources, especially with the technology that we have now. A lot of different YouTube videos and stuff will go over sight words. I know Teacher Pay Teacher is one of the many websites that we go on that have different worksheets and different games and ideas and stuff that you can do. Pinterest is pretty awesome nowadays about sharing ideas and different activities and curriculum games. I know sight words can definitely be one of the more scarier things, especially for kids and with parents trying to help with them. But taking a step back and going, hey, sight words are not actually as scary as we think that they are. They're simply words that they're learning to recognize and be able to identify all the time, and giving kids that little bit of freedom back for them to be able to go with it. One of the suggestions that we've always had is letting kids choose some of the words that they would like to go ahead and start learning. So that way they can write them down and they can look at them. And I've always heard that the words that they always want to start with is mommy, daddy, house, those things, because they have meaning to them. And the more that we allow them to have that meaning and stuff means that they can go ahead and begin learning it. And it's the same with numbers and different things. Start with the things that you have around you. You don't need all of this fancy things and stuff to start helping them with those academics. You can use cars, tape, a lot of the curriculum and stuff that we have, just use household objects just to help create that little sense of familiarity for them to start learning. So don't feel like you have to have all of these specialized lakeshore learning or different discount school supplies, like special things, when you can just use some of the simple stuff at home. So
we would use, I give my children magazine, newspaper, sales paper, something like that. And then we would they'd pick a sight word. And then I say, okay, can you find this sight word 3 times on this page? And so they would find it and circle it. And we would just go through their sight words and they would be finding them and circling them. So they would see them repetitively and it would start to become familiar to them. So then I could show them the word, like a flashcard with the word on it. And before long, they knew what they were because it was something that had become so familiar and it was fun for them. And my oldest one, because she's very competitive, she would be like, Mom, set a timer, set a timer. Let's see how many, see if I can find the word, how many can I can find in, 1 minute or whatever. She always wanted me to set a timer. So we would set a timer and she would find her sight words just in whatever random piece of mail or paper or whatever that was laying around. There was nothing fancy to it, but it was fun for her and she was learning. So we just took advantage of that opportunity for her to learn just using something basic around the house.
I love that.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I mean, my number one thing is make it fun. Kids, they love to have fun. They learn, they enjoy themselves. And if it's fun, they'll engage more, than sitting down and it's, just strict and hard. And I do. I love watching kids have fun. And, I have to admit, when mom and dad or we join in, they're so excited to show us what they're learning and what they're doing, so just open it up. And I feel like the problem a lot of time is we tend not to want to follow their lead. Sometimes it's okay to let them take it and we follow them and see where it goes because, kids are amazing and they do some things that we would never think they would do or say. So just let them take the lead and just have fun with them.
So that was
notice.
I'll say that was my point. Kind of where Sydney started, letting the kids choose words they want to start with, letting them choose words that they want to identify and read and that relate to them. I think that's a good starting point because that encourages them to catch their interest and then they're going to run with it. And that shows them in those aspects that learning can be fun. We can do this. And this is helping me learn something that I truly care about and I want to learn about. So being able to catch their interest and let them guide the learning, I think is huge.
That's one of my favorite things about the Nest curriculum is because it is so much fun. Mm-hmm. They don't understand or the kids don't even realize that everything that they're doing is purposeful. Every activity, everything that's happening in the room is all purposeful and it's all they're all learning experiences. They're just having so much fun that they don't even realize how much they're learning, but their parents realize.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say with kids is that especially they are competitive, and being able to sit down, as a family and make it a game and make it something because they're always constantly, look at me, I can be the fastest, or, I can do this first, or my tower is the biggest. And being able to incorporate that with learning and going, okay, who can count the highest? Okay, if how high can I stack these blocks? And can you, tell me, if this car is the biggest and let's put them in order to all the way to the smallest. Like, it's just those simple things of like adding that little bit of underlying of education and stuff to things that they already naturally do that makes them want to learn more and want to progress and do things. And when we tell you that like they're easy things that you can do at home, they really are.
Yeah, even cleanup time, the teachers will say, who can find me 5 yellow blocks? I know, okay, now we have 5 yellow blocks. How many more do we need to have 8 yellow blocks? So they're getting addition, they're getting color recognition, they're getting one-to-one correspondence, and they're cleaning up their toys, but they're having fun. So they don't mind cleaning up the toys because they're having fun.
I was just going to think that, right? To all parents out there listening, if you want help, as soon as that you see that Lego bin dump right onto the ground and you're saying, oh boy, this is going to be a big job to clean up, delegate, right? Can you grab all the blue Legos and mommy's going to grab all the yellow Legos, and who can go the fastest, and how many blue Legos did you pick up? And in that one cleanup activity, yes, your floor is getting cleaned up and those Legos are getting cleaned up right there, but they're also working on color recognition, and they're also being able to count and really add in all of those. And so, and you all really hit on it, that purposeful learning. Play really is that purposeful learning for all young children. So we certainly love that, and we see that, and we want that. So Carolyn, what are some effective daily routines that parents can start to implement now to really help, again, continue to prepare the children for the structure of a school day? It certainly is going to look different than what their school days look like in the preschool setting. So how can parents at home help to prepare the children as they get ready for the structure of the school day? How might we see that in some of your own classrooms at your school?
I feel like having those structured classroom, those routine schedules, and follow them every day. Give them, to this morning we're going to start this. Putting up that schedule and following that schedule each and every day helps them to know what their routine is going to be like, letting them know what to be expecting throughout the day so that they can feel like they have choices in there instead of it being a guessing game. I feel like parents need to start talking more and reading to their kids so they, know what to expect. I feel like it's that schedule routine will help them out a lot.
Definitely. The routine is huge, important, and letting them be a part of planning their day. So, at night before they go to bed, which one of these 2 outfits do you want to wear tomorrow? What do you want to pack for lunch tomorrow? Whatever it is, letting them have a decision making in it, let them be a part of it. And then when they wake up in the morning, so many parents, I feel like we're all probably guilty of it, of rushing our children in the morning, but having a routine set so they can wake up and go, do you want to get dressed first or do you want to brush your teeth first? So they have a part of that decision making so they don't feel so, rush. We got to do this. We got to do this. We got to do this. Gives them ownership in what they're doing and gives them responsibility. But it also, I think, giving them that little bit of freedom to make those choices. And you can't give them 100 choices because then you'll really be running late. But if you can give them 2 or 3 choices, then it helps them feel like they have a part in that decision making. And then they know when they get to school, when I get to school, I hang up my backpack, I wash my hands, I go to my table. And if they get to school at the same time every day and they're on time and they're not rushed, then it starts their day off on a positive way.
And I agree because some kids need that structured routine, it helps them get through the day. They know exactly what to expect and what's going. And one thing I really like that you said was, we're always rushing. Yes, let's slow down. Let's slow it down and, show them the way to do it. They'll learn to take that routine and they'll be able to go with it. But if you slow it down and show it to them, they need that consistency every single day, and it's the same way as they come into the classroom, what to expect. These children should be able to come into a classroom and know what's going on to where they can pretty much run that classroom themselves if they need to. So if it's done right, it can happen.
And I can definitely say giving your children choices is huge in them being a little bit more independent and being willing to help you and help you get, what needs to be done and where on time. Like I can speak for myself with my children, giving them choices in the morning on what they're going to wear and letting them pick those out versus me being like, you're going to wear this. Because if I tell you you're wearing this, we're going to have a fit. So if I let them pick it out, let them guide the morning, they're more eager to, well, what can I help you do next? What can I do next to make us ready? Versus me waking up being like, all right, get out the bed. It's time to go. We're going to be late. Put this on. But letting them choose that definitely puts them in a better headspace, more positive for their day. And they're definitely going to do better throughout the day because they've had a positive morning start.
I also have to say, doing that with them every single day, once they get to school, it kind of wraps back around when you're doing that tour and you have that first preschooler that's coming in. Well, you have that child that's so used to that routine in there that could become a buddy to kind of show them the way and kind of help them out. So it is really, really important to stick to it.
And with options, I know we talk about all these choices and stuff, and sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking and going, oh my gosh, but sometimes we are in a hurry and we do have to do things quickly. Remember, your choices and then allowing them the options to do things means that you can still have a same goal at the end of it. So, even though, yes, you're trying to get to the car, it could be as simple as, hey, do we want to skip to the car or do you want to, hop to the car? It all of the choices and stuff that you can give them can have a same common goal. So it's not like you're asking them, do you want to wait 5 more minutes before we do something else, that could, or do you want to go and do it now? It can just be the little choices that helps with their daily routine and being able to get them to transition a little bit easier, and make your morning a little smoother.
Yeah, and given those fun choices, like are you going to skip to the car or hop to the car, can distract them from the meltdown that was about to happen over they couldn't find their favorite shoes to wear. So sometimes just finding something fun, doing something fun with them can distract them from what could ruin their morning to make it something fun and just completely redirect their mind to something positive.
I love that, and in all of those choices as well, as children are entering those their kindergarten years and their higher academic years as well, they're going to have choices, and really where their learning is going to take place as well. So certainly giving them those choices that they can make, those fun choices, skipping to the car, what do you want to wear for school today, is going to help to make their decision-making skills inside their academic journey as well. So believe it or not, we have reached the end of our show tonight. But before we call it a night, we want to get some questions from our families out there. So go ahead and type your questions in the comments below, and we are going to go through them and answer some of them the best that we can. So we're going to start off with a simple one out there. So what are some of those important skills that a child needs when heading into kindergarten? So while you guys are answering some of those questions or adding in some questions of your own, another question that I'm just going to pose out there to our directors on our Nest Builders call tonight is how can I assess if my child is emotionally and socially ready for preschool or kindergarten? So Kendra, you want to go ahead and start us off on that?
It's tough to, I guess, assess if they're ready, but there are things you can do to help them get ready. So making sure that, you're taking them places with you and letting them have opportunities to be with other children, to be with other people. If you're in a restaurant, letting them have the option to order their own food, helping you pick things out at the grocery store so they know they have a voice, so they can be confident when they are going into a classroom, that they can ask for help when they need it, that they're not too shy to go to a teacher and ask for help or ask a question. Because, you see there's some children who just shut down. They get so nervous and so scared. And we always want them to feel like that they can trust their teachers and that, our teacher is our friend and they're here to help us. So just giving them those opportunities to build their confidence before they go to school.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I
I
love
agree with that. That's a huge part of that social emotional aspect, especially if they're just coming into childcare. It can be very difficult, and so I always suggest to parents, especially at my own school, is that is if they're an only child, to role play with them as that other child playing, and not always when they ask for a toy, to maybe require them to wait a little bit longer to help them understand that little bit of sharing and stuff with it, because us as adults, when kids come up and they ask for things, we're like, oh sure, not a big deal, like, because we don't mind always handing it over. But when they step into a classroom with other kids, it's a little bit different. It's going, hey, I'm still playing with that, you may have to wait a little bit. And us as parents and as adults, it's kind of our job to like help mirror that, to like ease them into it, and making sure they understand that in those difficult situations there are different ways that you can address it and talk about it by saying, hey, I'm not ready yet. And you can tell, other people know, and it is okay. I always used to advocate for the kids in my classroom and be like, you can tell your friends no, it's all right. You can ask them to please wait for you,
that.
because that's a part of life.
Yes. And I would tell the children, if you want a turn, you have to ask, can I have a turn when you're done? So that just because you want it doesn't mean they have to give it up. It doesn't mean you get it now. Can I have a turn when you're done? So parents role playing with their children before they go. If you're doing an activity, maybe you're coloring. Can I have the brown crayon when you're done? Okay, it's my turn with the brown crayon. And then when you're done, giving it back and saying, okay, now it's your turn with the crayon. So they learn that back and forth and the give and take of being in a classroom with children where you have to share materials and share space.
Yeah, I really like that. That's just parents teaching their little ones different way to problem solve, instead of, like you guys said, sharing that. That's, what two kids are fighting over something, how are we going to solve this problem? So teaching them how to problem solve, and, stepping back and allowing them to try. We have to give them the opportunity to try before we step in.
And kids are always going to make mistakes with that. They're still learning. And even us as adults, how many times do we end up making a mistake and looking back on it, we're like, oh man, I could have handled that a lot better, and it's helping kids with that and giving them the language and the skills to be able to deal with difficult situations, and acknowledging that they are, still learning to control their emotions. As adults, we ourselves barely hold on with our emotions. And so, explaining to them and justifying their feelings and going, hey, I see that you're angry, and hey, I see that you're upset and stuff. But there are different ways that we can handle it. If you're angry, it means, hey, you need to take a minute from the situation. If you need to stand up and say, I need to walk away, I need to take a few breaths, or I need a moment to just collect myself in my own space, and then come back to what we were doing and addressing it. So that way we can help guide them through it and really be able to support them as much as possible. Because as much as communication and everything is happening, emotional control of just themselves being able to self-soothe is a big part of it as well. Because I can't tell you how many times, I see parents in the grocery store, they look frazzled because the kid's just having a meltdown. And I'm one of those people who like to go over and be like, you're doing a great job. Take a deep breath and just wait it out. It'll be okay. Because they've got to learn, that when they are in those moments and they're very angry and stuff, sometimes the best action for you to do is just give it a moment and wait, because they're going to work through it. And I promise it's going to be very short and you'll be okay.
Thank you. Thank you. The last question I'm going to pose to all of you before we go ahead and wrap up. Are there any specific physical activities or motor skills that my child or that our children should be proficient in before starting school, whether it is preschool or kindergarten?
I think a big thing is working on those fine motor skills, working on those pre-writing skills. And there's so many fun things that they can do to strengthen those muscles in their hands and in their fingers to help them be able to grasp that pencil and, be able to use utensils in general, whether it's eating or writing. And a lot of people don't understand or don't realize that using a fork is a pre-writing skill. It's strengthening those muscles to hold those tools and hold those utensils. But pouring things from one cup to another, so they have to hold on to those cups to do that. Playing with Play-Doh, string beads, things like that. I think a lot of children go into school and they're expected to know how to write. They go to kindergarten and they're jumping straight into writing skills, and they may not have developed those motor skills yet to even hold a pencil correctly. So giving your children opportunities to strengthen those muscles in their hands, I think will give them a huge advantage coming into kindergarten. And I know at the Nest, we work on a lot of things in preschool to get them ready to build those muscles and build those fine motor skills so that they're ready for that when they go to kindergarten.
And I do know kids that sometimes they always shy away from tablets and stuff, but we're all guilty of going, hey, I need a few minutes. Can you play on the tablet or the iPad or my phone for a little bit? Give them one of the styluses instead. Instead of letting them use their finger, those S Pens and stuff, let them go ahead and use that. That is a good introductory way to get them to use those fine motor skills to be able to practice writing and stuff. Because again, it's them playing on it. And if you're encouraging them to go ahead and hold it and use it appropriately, it introduces that little bit of writing and stuff that can go hand in hand with it.
And I agree, because I know we have Mud Day coming up, and that is a good skill to use as far as squishing that mud and trying to write in it, And I know as a kid, I love playing in the mud, so I don't know if you don't like playing in the mud. So, that is a great, activity to work on those fine motor skills. Let them sit there and squeeze it and squish it and play, So I'm really looking forward to Mud Day.
Squeezing it and using their fingers and those lines and squiggles right into that mud, right into that sand, the Play-Doh. I even think helping opening and closing certain jars. So I always say, what are the little twist caps that are on the yogurts or green pouches, right? Bringing in some of those and making a board where it's a twist and turn board. It's even some of our youngest toddlers can really start to work on those fine motor skills. Because when they go into kindergarten, especially in that lunchroom, there is an expectation that at some point they are going to have to be able to open up their own containers or open up their own yogurts. Certainly they are helping to continue to build those skills, but they are still going to need some of those skills as well. So yes, I think those fine motor, physical motor skills really are so important in those early years.
And that's something I get asked by like a lot of our parents transitioning into is, well, my child can't write. Is that going to hinder them? And, just having those conversations of like, well, what do we do at home? What are the kids involved with as far as building motor skills? And sometimes you get that blank look like, I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do that with my child. But most children do that in everyday activity. We just don't realize that. Especially if you're outside of the child care field, you just don't realize that. So encouraging them to, play in the dirt at home, use Play-Doh, different lacing things and things like that. Doing things with their hands definitely prepares them for the writing aspect and accomplishing those fine motor skills.
Absolutely. Thank you so
much. A good colander and some shoelaces, and they've got a little weaving ball themselves. Yes. Sticking some sand, and you already got some writing utensils.
Yep.
Yeah. Another thing I like is keys. People always like, no, put the keys down. Let them take those keys and try to put them in the door, and they're they're pinching those keys and that's fine motor skills. Let them try to open the doors and things. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for sharing. It unfortunately it's time to wrap up this episode of Nest Builders, but we want to make sure that we thank all of you for joining us tonight. And we want to thank our school leaders for spending some time with me tonight talking on this topic. So Samantha, Carolyn, Sydney, and Kendra, thank you all. This has been an incredible conversation. And thank you for letting me lead in and have this discussion with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For those watching that are near one of our schools around the country, especially near one of the schools represented by these fabulous directors, we encourage you to come visit us and see what the Nest has to offer. You can learn more about our preschool programs by visiting www.thenestschool.com. Before we leave, we need you all to mark your calendars. Our next Nest Builders event, it will be held on July 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we will be joined by 4 of our good friends over at Zest Pediatrics, who will talk all about the first year of your child's life. You can sign up for the event and learn more by visiting www.thenestschool.com/nestbuilders. Until next time, thanks for joining us and have a wonderful evening. Bye, everyone.